Good day, all. It is my pleasure to present my teammates and I's views on the debate topic titled How Should African Countries Handle the Issue of Genetic Patents and the Ownership of Genetic Information? As a means of introduction, I am Abimbola Oladayo, and together with Sunday Olariwaju, we'll be giving our affirmative opinions on this important topic. We'll start with the definition of genetic patents and ownership of genetic information. Patents broadly refer to a legal right that allows a person or company to exclusively control the use, production, and sale of a specific genetic sequence or related intervention, while the ownership broadly refers to the right to control who can use, access, or share your genetic data, such as your DNA sequence. And today, we confront a critical issue that strikes at the heart of sovereignty, ethics, and justice, which is the handling of this patent and ownership of information in African countries. In an era where genetic resources are increasingly commodified, African nations stand at a crossroad. The rich biodiversity of our continent have long been exploited without fair compensation or recognition. And this is not merely a matter of intellectual property, it is a question of moral and ethical responsibility. As such, we must advocate for a framework that ensures African countries retain control over their genetic resources. And this means that we reject exploitative patents that strip communities of their heritage and instead foster policies that promote equitable benefit sharing, transparency, and informed consent. By doing this, we're protecting our invaluable genetic heritage, empowering local communities, promoting sustainable development, and upholding principles of justice and fairness at the same time. It is fair to say that the time has come for African nations to assert their rights and lead the way in creating a more equitable global system for genetic information. So, we believe that taking an affirmative stance on genetic patents and ownership in African countries is crucial for protecting sovereignty, ensuring ethical responsibility, and empowering local communities. This approach not only promotes innovation, address historical injustices, or position African nations as global leaders in bioethics and intellectual property, it also ensures fair compensation, sustainable development, and a just future for all. And in the next few slides, we're going to be sharing how African countries should handle this important issue. Firstly, we think that the approach has to be multifaceted so that we are looking at different lenses as we approach this issue of handling patents and ownership effectively. And this would include establishing robust legal frameworks, promoting equitable sharing, benefit sharing, strengthening regional cooperation, empowering local communities, and encouraging ethical research and innovation. Without robust legal frameworks, African genetic data could be appropriated by external parties who patent discoveries without fairly compensating these communities. This points to the need to implement comprehensive laws that protect genetic resources and traditional knowledge. And a good example of this would be the European Union's GDPR that shows how robust legal frameworks can enhance data protection, empower individuals, and set global standards. Another example is that of W.R. Grace and Monsanto patenting name trees from Indian communities without fair compensation. And these highlighted the need for better protection against biopiracy. It also led to more robust international policies, such as the Convention on Biological Diversity. And having such frameworks in Africa can also protect against these practices. By promoting equitable benefit sharing, we're looking at fair compensation and access. And this can happen by developing policies that ensure that Africans receive fair compensation and access to any advancements derived from their genetic resources. And this could range from financial returns, access to new treatments, and technological development. And a good example of this would be the Udia plant case that shows how benefit sharing agreements can work. And the San people of South Africa were compensated and provided partnership with pharmaceutical companies due to policies that ensure fair benefit sharing. Furthermore, by collaborating with other African nations, we can create a unified stance on genetic patents because regional agreements can enhance bargaining power and ensure consistent policies across borders. And a very good example of this is the WIPO Treaty on Intellectual Property, Genetic Resources, and Associated Traditional Knowledge. Adopted in 2024, this treaty demonstrates how collaboration can protect genetic information and promote equitable benefit sharing. By empowering local communities, we can help them understand their rights and the value of their resources. And this empowerment can lead to better protection and utilization of these resources. And this framework has been utilized in Peru successfully. It can also be adopted on the African continent. Finally, encouraging ethical research and innovation by fostering an environment where research and innovation are conducted ethically, respecting local knowledge and resources. And we can achieve this by partnering with academic institutions and providing ethical guidelines for researchers. A good example of this is the African Genomic Medicine Training Initiative, which aims to build capacity in genomics across Africa, ensuring that local scientists, scholars, and professionals can lead research and clinical applications using African genetic data. To wrap up, the importance of protecting African genetic resources cannot be overstated. Fair benefit sharing agreements can ensure that indigenous knowledge and resources are used equitably and ethically. As such, we must ensure that African countries have control over their genetic data and that any advancements are shared fairly and any advancements are shared fairly with local communities. By promoting local innovation and engaging in international collaboration, we can ensure that African nations are not only protectors of their resources, but also leaders in the field of genomics. And together, we can build a future where Africa's genetic diversity is celebrated and fully utilized for the benefit of its people. These are references and would appreciate questions and comments. Thank you for listening.